Welcome to Pioneer TV Pregame.
Tonight, the Mooresville Pioneers face off the Franklin Community Grizzly Cubs. Thank you for joining us on Pioneer TV Pregame. My name is Sammy Shelley, and joining me is Gavin Greider.
With the Pioneers' win against Decatur Central last week, their current record is 5-0. In that game, Nick Patterson threw 8 complete passes of 20 attempts for 85 yards and 25 carries for 165 yards. Levi Dorn caught 2 passes for 29 yards and carried for 8 yards. Jarius Evans had 17 carries for 53 yards. Cade Garrett and Justin Knight caught interceptions. Branson Blair collected a quarterback sack. Next week, the Pioneers face off the Warriors at Whiteland.
Let's look at some of Mooresville's key players. Mooresville quarterback Nick Patterson has a .570 pass completion percentage, 204.8 yards a game, 12 touchdowns, and 6 pass interceptions. Next, Levi Dorn leads the Pioneers with 359 receiving yards. He has 7 receiving touchdowns. On defense, junior Landon Clements leads the Pioneers with 65 tackles and 1 sack. Senior Kenny Curry for the Pioneers has 1,685 kickoff yards and 40 punt yards. He has made 19 out of 19 PAT kick attempts and 6 out of 6 field goal attempts.
The Pioneers played against Franklin Community last season. Mooresville won that game 45-14. During that game, the Pioneers had a .800 pass completion percentage, 311 passing yards, 18 rushing carries, 115 rushing yards, 311 receiving yards, 2 sacks, and 93 tackles.
Franklin Community had a .679 pass completion percentage, 144 passing yards, 34 rushing carries, 218 rushing yards, 144 receiving yards, and 51 tackles.
Franklin Community lost to Martinsville last week 27-26, making their current record 3-2. Now let's look at the Grizzly Cubs season schedule. In Week 1, they won 42-14 against Danville. In Week 2, they won 20-17 against Mount Vernon. Week 3, they won 42-0 against Perry Meridian. Week 4, they lost 21-0 against Whiteland. Week 5, they lost 27-26 against Martinsville. Week 6 is tonight's game against Mooresville. Week 7, Plainfield. Week 8 is Greenwood. And Week 9 is Decatur Central.
Now let's look at some of Franklin Community's key players. Franklin Community quarterback Clay Pinnick has a .509 pass completion percentage, 82.4 yards a game, 5 touchdowns, and 0 pass interceptions. Next, there is Max Clark and John Shepard. Max Clark leads the Grizzly Cubs with 174 receiving yards. He has 2 receiving touchdowns. John Shepard leads the Grizzly Cubs with 260 rushing yards and 5 carries. He has 1 rushing touchdown. On defense, Zachary Reese leads the Grizzly Cubs with 40 tackles and 8 tackles per game. Patrick Fancher for the Grizzly Cubs has 686 kickoff yards and 153 punt yards. He has made 16 out of 17 PAT kick attempts and 2 out of 2 field goal attempts.
Let's look at both teams' current season comparison. Mooresville's offense has 71 passing completions, 13 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, 962 total rushing yards, and 1,057 total passing yards. Mooresville's defense, with 8 interceptions, 9 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 411 total tackles.
Franklin Community's offense has 30 passing completions, 5 passing touchdowns, 11 rushing touchdowns, 903 total rushing yards, and 446 total passing yards. On defense, with 1 interception, 1 sack, 2 fumble recoveries, and 140 total tackles. Thank you for watching Pioneer TV Pregame. Be sure to stay tuned for tonight's game.